Aloha, friends. I was about to go out on my paddleboard. It's Sunday morning, but I thought maybe we should just sit down and talk a little bit about what ankylosing spondylitis is. We put that out there maybe back in August that's what you were diagnosed with. And we just want to tell you what it is. It's scary. We want to talk about how it's affected our family. If you know somebody suffering from it, how to help them. I can let you talk, but it's a very emotional thing that we've been dealing with.
So it's a kind of a long story. I know some of you know that about, let's see, I don't know, 5 years ago, I was diagnosed with Lyme disease.
I thought it was longer than that. The boys are 13. Mike is 13.
I think it's about 5 years that I was officially diagnosed.
Okay.
I've had symptoms for 8-9 years. So it kind of started with 9 years ago. I had this pain in my lower back, and it moved up through my back into my shoulders, neck.
You had an old football injury.
Originally thought it was an old football injury. I was keto the whole time. I've been eating keto for, 16 years or something. And so, a lot of people, when they have Lyme, going keto really helps. Well, I already was. And so I think that helped.
And you were closer to carnivore. It's not like you did cauliflower rice.
Yeah, I was
pretty meat heavy.
Pretty close, pretty meat heavy even way back then. And so I think it was a blessing and a curse, because it allowed me just to go with it and let it progress longer than I probably should have. I was able to manage the pain with the diet I was eating for a long time. But finally, about 5 years ago, I went in and got a bunch of tests done, found that my CRP was really high.
Really high.
Like 50. And so I realized something was wrong, and we did a bunch of tests, got the right Lyme test done, and it was determined I had Lyme disease.
Well, start saying the traditional Lyme blot test is 90% inaccurate. So if you got that done and you're like, I don't have Lyme, that's what you did.
I'd gotten that a couple of years earlier, and it said I didn't have Lyme, so I didn't think that. I looked at other things.
But what's a correct Lyme test?
Yeah, so IGeneX, or there's a couple others that if you can always contact us, we can let you know. They're not cheap, but they test all the different bands, and they're much more accurate. So that's what I got, and it said I had Lyme, and started treating it, and did every possible traditional, non-traditional,
very expensive things
treatment for Lyme, and really none of it made any changes to my pain. I continued to get worse, and so what happened was, and we started looking at other options. One other thing that so what Lyme disease can do to a lot of people is, you can get Lyme, it can reduce your immune function and depress your immune system, and then other things creep in. That's why they talk a lot about peeling back an onion. There's heavy metal issues that you can have, which mold. I did, mold, all these other things that can creep in. And the one thing that always bothered me or interested me was piqued my interest was that mold has a lot of the similar symptoms as chronic Lyme. So mold exposure was one of the things. Also, like, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, we had that mold in our garage.
Black mold
in our garage.
We had it in our bedroom.
And then we got it properly cleaned out and everything. But, that initial exposure could, if I already had Lyme depressing my immune function, that exposure could have contributed to things as well. And so what I think happened, if I look back at it all, it's, Lyme disease, depressing, possible mold exposure, and that created a storm with my immune function, and then constantly battling itself. And then what happens is you start killing your own cells, which is an autoimmune reaction.
Can I make another comment? A lot of people that we've worked with, and even Arish mentioned, did something happen 6 months, a year before all of this kind of happened? Because usually a very stressful event can trigger like autoimmune, Lyme, all of that. and we adopted 2 children, and you lost your job.
Yeah, I mean, for symptoms, also building the new house was right around the time the symptoms
It was
were
all
starting.
very stressful.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah. I just
but-
found that interesting that a stress event could trigger things.
Yeah, and so basically, I think that series of events, created that cytokine storm, the type of thing that, what was interesting is some of the COVID long hauler stuff that's happening. There's a lot of crossover with what happens with people with chronic Lyme disease and these other issues. It's like the immune function just turns on and just doesn't want to shut off. And when you're in that state for an extended period of time, and this is why it's important to address that issue early on, is because if you let it go and you let that chronic inflammation, chronic immune response happen for years and years, eventually the body is just going to start attacking itself. And that's what an autoimmune reaction is where your body starts attacking its own good cells, right? And ankylosing spondylitis is an autoimmune reaction.
And what it is the joints are becoming bone.
Primarily, what ankylosing spondylitis is, it's sort of like arthritis in your vertebrae, and also very often in the hips. And that arthritis, it's the chronic inflammation, it's the autoimmune reaction, it's the breaking down and inflaming of those joints, which causes tons of really bad pain. And then over time, it can calcify, and that's what's happened in my neck. My neck is basically fused together. Most of the vertebrae are bone, and so fused together. So I have very limited ability to turn my head or up or down. My back hasn't calcified yet, but there's still a lot of pain there. So, all those Lyme things we did, again, everything from 9 months of 3 really high-powered antibiotics, all taken together for 9 months, to cavitation surgery and having teeth pulled and infections, which are all things that needed to be dealt with. Heavy metals, all these things. Nothing really reversed the pain issue because I think it was too far gone to where the autoimmune reaction, was
CBD didn't help.
Breaking down.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Everybody always gives
you
us.
name it.
Everybody's so kind. They always say, "Try this, try that." They tried CBD.
Literally everything.
Yeah.
And so only thing that really has helped me, and we're looking in this tiny place. I'm looking to get another small hyperbaric chamber for here because hyperbaric oxygen treatments have really helped with my pain.
It's crazy. You could actually walk and stuff.
Yeah, I was without any painkillers.
Because he can't even walk the beach with me.
No, not right now when it's like this. When it's flared up.
I think you did once with me while we were here.
The biggest, the back pain and whatnot is bad, but the hip, my left hip, the arthritis has broken it down so much that one of the reasons we started coming here for almost 6 months in Hawaii is that the winters in Wisconsin were just so bad. I was on crutches, and when it would get that cold.
And you could barely move on the crutches.
Yeah,
it was not.
Very painful.
You would lay in bed some days.
But this year, again, last summer, I was able to find hyperbaric treatments, and that got me to where I could actually, even in the fall, when it started to turn cold, a little bit of pain creeped in, but I was able to, without any painkillers,
You even helped me with my deer.
move around, walk, do a lot of things that I used to be able to. So that's been the one thing that I have found that has helped me. So, if you have arthritis, ankylosing spondylitis, looking into hyperbaric oxygen is something I would recommend.
We're trying the peptides. You didn't see, there's a lot of peptides that you can inject and you just didn't see relief. We've tried everything.
Yeah, literally you name it, we've tried it.
We've gone to so many doctors, so many specialists. I always say, I don't need a new car. You just get healthier, and that's what would make me happy. But, we just haven't found that thing yet. I mean,
Well,
the oxygen chamber is just taking care of the pain. It's not
Yeah.
reversing anything.
And the current thing that I'm doing to try to solve the root cause of the problem is I'm working with a great doctor who is helping with chronic inflammatory response syndrome, which I think is, at the end of the day, the root cause of all my issues. Not necessarily root cause. It's the result, the thing that made the issues that I have. So chronic inflammatory response syndrome is that kind of cytokine storm, that autoimmune situation where the autoimmune system just is turned on full throttle all the time, and it creates inflammation, because that's what the immune response is supposed to do. It's supposed to create an inflammatory response to then attack the invaders and heal you, help heal you, make you better. But when it's on all the time, it's constant inflammation and, a problem.
The Judy Cho is the one that...
Yeah, she helped connect me, which is very much appreciated.
Thank you, Judy.
Appreciate that very much. Because it's really hard to get into a lot of these people who specialize in this. These
They're so busy.
Doctors, yeah.
Sad.
And so I've been doing some treatments with it. I haven't seen really any improvements that I can, speak of yet, but it can take time. So again, I'm still trying lots of things to get at the root cause of the inflammatory response, to shut it down. But at the end of the day, I think the most reduction in inflammation I get is from the hyperbaric. So I'm going to definitely keep doing that.
Yeah. It's just interesting how, I think life gives you lessons to learn, and it's so hard because, we've been married for 26 years now, going on 27, and we did everything together. Even when I was running marathons, you rode your bike next to me. We would go to the grocery store together. We walked together. We did everything together. And I'm a super active person, many of you know, and it's so hard to change our lifestyle because I'm by myself a lot because I'm very active, and it's made me have to become a more patient person, but at the same time it's hard. I don't know.
Well, and the other thing I would emphasize here is that don't judge someone by what they have going on. And, the people out there in this community who have this sort of belief that, if you just eat the right food, everything will heal. There's external things that can happen. I have eaten extremely clean.
Carnivore.
Keto, borderline carnivore for, 16 years. I don't deviate. I don't ever eat any, bread or sugar, nothing. I've never deviated in, 16 years. And this can still happen. It's an external factor. It's Lyme, it's mold, it's, things.
Well, Lyme's from a tick. You can't just beat that.
Exactly. And there's actually some people in this community who have said that if you just eat keto,
the doctor said that, and it really upset me. Yeah.
So, I would encourage people, to not do that. Keto is amazing, carnivore is amazing, but it can't fix everything, okay? It can't prevent Lyme disease. It's a tick. It bites you. It injects it into you when it bites. Mm-hmm. These are things that I want to make sure, too, people understand. It's not always because you're not doing things exactly right. Sometimes you do everything exactly right and bad stuff still happens.
Yeah. What's interesting is I had the great opportunity to speak in Russia. What was that, 4 years ago now? And after my speech, which was about the ketogenic diet, I asked if there's any questions, and someone asked if I could address Lyme disease because they knew about your situation. And I was like, really? Raise your hand if you or someone you know is suffering from Lyme. And I swear, thousands of people raise their hand.
Half the room.
It was unbelievable. So it's not just the United States. It's not just people in the Midwest. We're meeting people all over the world suffering. And I think, Lyme is address that first, because if you don't, other things can happen.
Lyme and or mold, those type of situations.
You're such a helper. I think you were focused on helping all the other people that we work with instead of yourself.
Yeah, and again, because I was eating the proper diet, I probably delayed addressing it longer than I should have. If I was eating the standard American diet, my pain probably would have gotten too unbearable within the first year, and I would have tried to address it. Yeah. But it kind of extended it. But
one of the reasons I wanted to do this video is because we're a very judgy society, and it just bothers me how people don't see you as healthy. Like if they see you walk, or like KetoCon, you were very nervous about when we went there. We're not going this year, but last year you're nervous. And I just said, be honest, tell people what you're dealing with, because I think there's compassion out there if they know. I don't know. It's just funny because everybody thinks our life's so perfect behind the pictures. I mean, of course I'm going to post the nice pictures. I'm not going to post stuff like Craig can't walk today, I don't know. It's just everybody's dealing with something, so be compassionate, be kind, because kindness is so gangster. Like, be kind, be passionate, don't be so judgy. I don't know. Kai,
So-
do you want to say anything or no? Kai's over here.
Yes.
You want to say
Drawing.
something? No.
So, all right. So we just want to come on and say that, and
Yep.
hope
I
you
know.
guys have a great week.
Yep. And thanks for all your support and love and kindness, and peace out.
Thanks, everyone.
So Craig went down to the beach, and I just want to take a moment to tell all of you that I married the man with the biggest heart. Like, Craig has a heart of gold. He cares about everybody. Like, he's the best father. He's the most giving person. And he said when he was diagnosed, he said, I think I got it for a reason, to help other people. And that's what he does. He spends most of his time trying to help other people. It's his birthday on Christmas Day, and he likes the luau's, so we went to the luau down the street. And at the luau, he was on our private Facebook groups helping answer questions. And I was like, Craig, it's your birthday, it's Christmas, like, please enjoy this. But he's like, these people need help. So I just want you to know that he's got a heart of gold. And if you can, just give him some words of encouragement and love, because it's really changed his life, and it's just been such a struggle for him. But he does love to help people, so throw your questions down below and we'll answer them. Mahalo, everybody. If you want to change your life like I've changed mine with food, I would be honored to help you. Many of you don't know that I was twice my size. I had acid reflux. I had PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome. I had depression. I had IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome. And food changed my life. And not only did that happen, I get to eat good food, right? Good food. So if you want to eat good food, I have perfected meal plans made by me, and personal help with supplements or modifications if you have Hashimoto's, if you have Graves', if you have IBS, if you have PCOS, contact me. I would be honored to help you. You can go to keto-adapted.com and find a lot of different options there for personalized help, or message me by commenting below on this YouTube video, or you can check me out at mariamindbodyhealth.com. Mahalo.